Good afternoon. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. So I have something, and the podcast. Don't forget, netsnewsnetwork.net. We're here for the truth for you. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and Brad sent some information to me, one of our listeners, about this new thing. It's called lab-grown meat. And so I'm intrigued. I'd like to know a little bit more about it. I'm a little more apprehensive than I am intrigued. But I wanted to go on ahead and play a video for you. And then we're going to get down to brass tacks and find out, what is this stuff about? What's it about?
The meat of the future will likely be lab-grown. Compared to our conventional methods of getting meat on the table, lab-grown meat, which debuted in 2013, doesn't involve slaughtering of animals, nor does it require as many environmental resources. Compared to other livestock, raising cows require 28 times more land and 11 times more water. The World Wildlife Fund adds that beef production drives 25% of global land use and forestry emissions. And in the near future, lab-grown meat is going to be cheaper, faster, and more environmentally friendly to produce for our growing population. But how exactly does one grow meat in a lab? The process isn't as weird as you might think. Currently, the most successful method involves harvesting stem cells from cows. Stem cells are the building blocks of essentially everything, from muscles to organs, from which muscle tissue is harvested from the live animal in what is said to be a harmless, painless procedure. The tissue is made up of muscle and fat cells, which the scientists separate from one another. What we need are the muscles, which are then dissected and cultured. Cell culturing is where a cell is removed from a plant or animal and then put into a favorable artificial environment, usually some type of substrate that supplies essential nutrients like amino acids and carbohydrates to grow. All it takes is just one singular muscle stem cell to grow up to 1 trillion muscle cells. The newly grown muscle cells naturally merge together to form tiny myotubes, which are then placed in a ring. The muscle cell's tendency to contract frequently causes them to grow into a small strand of muscle tissue. The muscle tissue tubes are then layered together to form a hamburger shape. One muscle cell has the potential to turn into 1 trillion muscle tissue strands, which is a lot of burgers. The lab-grown hamburgers don't quite look like normal hamburgers and are much paler in color and blander in taste. But as scientists point out, that blander taste is a fair trade for an efficient way to create protein and feed the world's growing population. The price of lab-grown hamburgers has already dropped from $325,000 to just over $11 per patty. While it is still pricey compared to a Big Mac, which costs $4.79 on average, the price will likely drop in the future as production methods are streamlined, meaning that more likely than not, lab-grown meat will be on your dinner plate in the near future. The meat of the
So what are your thoughts about this? I'm just a little apprehensive, but I wanted to do some research. Maybe I could be wrong. So I found this on edu.gcfglobal.org. That's edu.gcfglobal.org. And so they're going on to talk about how lab-grown meat is made. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. And so the big question is, will it actually make factory farms obsolete? I'm still for my factory and my local farmers, okay? But let's go ahead and investigate a little bit. So how is it made? Compared to terms like free range and farm raised, lab-grown leaves a lot to imagination when it comes to how the cultured meat is made. But the article goes on to say, but it's not as scary as it sounds. So take a cow, for example. Scientists will use a cow's stem cell, just like in the video. It mentions the building block of muscle and other organs to begin the process of creating the cultured meat. I don't know, maybe using another term other than cultured meat might help. So the cells are placed in petri dishes with amino acids and carbohydrates to help the muscle cells multiply and grow. Now, once enough muscle fibers have grown, the result is a meat that resembles ground beef. And we did see the video. I keep thinking of this movie I saw a long time ago, Soylent Green, which was, you got to look that up. It kind of feels like we're heading in that direction. So is cultured meat vegan? By definition, a vegan diet does not include consuming meat or any form of animal products. That's why cheese and things like that are considered an animal product. For this reason, lab-grown meat would not be considered vegan because the ingredients needed to produce the synthetic meat are all derived from animals. You saw in the video where they actually they took a sample out of the cow, and so they're using that. I would like to see it done in real-time fashion, though. So what do vegetarians think about cultured meats? Many are still on the fence, according to vegetarians. So lab-grown meat sort of circumvents the ethical issues of eating meat because it doesn't require any animals to be slaughtered. Now, what are we going to do with all the animals that are roaming the fields? It's still meat, though, which is the main concern for many vegetarians. Some say they're interested in trying the new synthetic meats, but others still find animal tissue, whether or not it's grown in a lab, unappetizing enough to pass on an artificial beef burger. I'm kind of there with them. Aside from the ethical implications of lab-grown beef, members of the Hindu, Muslim, and Jewish faiths question whether cultured meat is in accordance with their religious beliefs and therefore acceptable to consume. So there's still some debate out there about that. So right now, let's talk about this. How much will the lab-created meat cost? Now, the first lab-made hamburger was created in 2012, and it cost about, dig this, $325,000 to produce. But like everything else, as technology advances, the cost to produce cultured meat should continue to decrease. Now, during an interview on an Australian radio show, Dutch startup Moza Meat estimated that the price could be $80 per kilogram if they're able to reach large-scale production. This would mean that a 5-ounce burger would cost slightly more than $11. But as you saw in the video, it would be cheaper to go to McDonald's if you're going to get pink meat. You know what I mean? About the same anyway. Is cultured meat more environmentally friendly? It's too soon to say what the environmental impact of producing, I think that's where this is heading myself, lab-grown meat will be, but it's already appearing to be much more eco-friendly. Compared to conventional beef, lab-grown beef requires 45% less energy use, 99% less land use, and produces 96% fewer greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, let's dig a little more. Are other types of meat being available in labs? Now, in addition to lab-grown beef, cultured chicken and duck products are in the works. So scientists are also experimenting with the same process of cell agriculture to produce milk, eggs, and leather. What about plant-based meat? Plant-based meat is not the same as lab-based meat. Instead, it replicates the taste and texture of actual beef, sausage, and other meats without using any animal products. They achieve this by using special recipes and cooking procedures. And I've tried this with Phil. I can never fool him. He always knows when I'm trying to pull the wool over his eyes about that. For instance, one company ferments genetically engineered yeast to create HEME. That's a protein that is crucial to duplicating the juiciness, flavor, and color of real meat. Unlike lab-grown meat, most plant-based meats are considered vegan. So if you want to try plant-based meat for yourself, the two biggest brands, Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, are available at select supermarkets and restaurants across the U.S. I don't know if you can buy these in Amazon.com yet. You can always look and see. Now, when will lab-grown meat be available to buy? Now, the scientists behind the production of lab-grown meat haven't been able to make any promises about it when it will be available at your local grocer. Although some hope cultured meat products could have hit the shelves by 2021. I don't think that's happened yet, and this is 2023 now. However, The startup companies producing lab-grown meats admit that it's likely to take several more years before production costs are reduced and cultured meats are available for consumption by the public at large. All this stuff just kind of makes you wonder. There are so many weird things that are going on right now, and people want to help the environment and things like that. But we've got to really be careful about those things. Let's go ahead and look at that video again and just pay a little bit more attention to how it's actually taken from the cow and then brought out for production for food. Okay, so let's look at this again.
The meat of the future will likely be lab-grown. Compared to our conventional methods of getting meat on the table, lab-grown meat, which debuted in 2013, doesn't involve slaughtering of animals, nor does it require as many environmental resources. Compared to other livestock, raising cows require 28 times more land and 11 times more water. The World Wildlife Fund adds that beef production drives 25% of global land use and forestry emissions. And in the near future, lab-grown meat is going to be cheaper, faster, and more environmentally friendly to produce for our growing population. But how exactly does one grow meat in a lab? The process isn't as weird as you might think. Currently, the most successful method involves harvesting stem cells from cows. Stem cells are the building blocks of essentially everything, from muscles to organs, from which muscle tissue is harvested from the live animal in what is said to be a harmless, painless procedure. The tissue is made up of muscle and fat cells, which the scientists separate from one another. What we need are the muscles, which are then dissected and cultured. Cell culturing is where a cell is removed from a plant or animal and then put into a favorable artificial environment, usually some type of substrate that supplies essential nutrients like amino acids and carbohydrates to grow. All it takes is just one singular muscle stem cell to grow up to 1 trillion muscle cells. The newly grown muscle cells naturally merge together to form tiny myotubes, which are then placed in a ring. The muscle cell's tendency to contract frequently causes them to grow into a small strand of muscle tissue. The muscle tissue tubes are then layered together to form a hamburger shape. One muscle cell has the potential to turn into 1 trillion muscle tissue strands, which is a lot of burgers. The lab-grown hamburgers don't quite look like normal hamburgers and are much paler in color and blander in taste. But as scientists point out, that blander taste is a fair trade for an efficient way to create protein and feed the world's growing population. The price of lab-grown hamburgers has already dropped from $325,000 to just over $11 per patty. While it is still pricey compared to a Big Mac, which costs $4.79 on average, the price will likely drop in the future as production methods are streamlined, meaning that more likely than not, lab-grown meat will be on your dinner plate in the near future.
Okay, so we are all about doing research. Let's go into a commercial break and just kind of think about that just a little bit. And then I'm going to go with an article I found about could science really extend the human lifespan? We'll study on it. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared,
and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Looks like you've been sleeping well.
Megan, he's back! The My Pillow guy!
And you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0.
The best sleep just got even better. Whether you have a My Pillow or not, you need to get the brand new My Pillow 2.0. Call or go to mypillow.com now. Use your promo code, and for a limited time when you buy one, you'll get a second one absolutely free.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. We are back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We've been talking about meats that are not exactly meat, but they are meat. And I don't know. I saw this movie. It probably ruined me. And this was years ago. I think it was made in the 70s or maybe even the 80s, and it was called Soylent Green. You got to go check that out. It's an old movie. This is what this is reminding me of. So anyway, but let's talk about, could science really extend the human span? This is all found on the same website about the fake meat here too, edu.gcfglobal.org. Could science really extend human lifespan? I'm not so sure I want to keep going beyond what God says, but let's talk about this for a minute. Despite advances in medicine and nutrition, science has had difficulty extending the human lifespan beyond a certain age. Nevertheless, Scientists are researching on how to push these limits and increase the duration and quality of a person's life. However, the big question remains, could science really extend the human life? I think that's where they kind of get into playing God. The science of life extension has one main goal, which is to prolong the human lifespan while maintaining youthful health. Since antiquity, people have pursued this goal through countless medicines, diets, scientific procedures, but now science has the knowledge to possibly make life extension a reality. Now, everybody wants a better quality of life. I'm not bashing that. But life extension has been in the news lately because many entrepreneurs, especially within the Silicon Valley, have publicly advocated and funded life extension research. Many of these advocates are incredibly optimistic because they see human aging not as inevitable, but as an obstacle that will eventually be overcome. Is any form of life extension available now? Currently, there's no proven method of delaying or reversing the aging process. I will say this: stop smoking, stop drinking, stop doing all this weird stuff, have a happy, clean life. That's how my Aunt Elizabeth has lived to be almost 102. She takes care of herself, and she still has her mental facilities, and she still lives by herself. And I think this all comes to clean living. She uses her brain. She doesn't let other people think for her. That may be another reason why she's doing very well. Okay, always be wary of any drug, food, or supplement that makes anti-aging claims. Also keep in mind that in the United States, the FDA only reviews supplements for safety, but not for effectiveness. This means a supplement that claims to prevent aging could actually be useless. As for cosmetics that makes anti-aging claims, these products are typically designed to hide the effect of aging, not reverse aging itself. Essentially, if an anti-aging product seems too good to be true, it probably is. I'm going to agree with that. So what kind of research is going on? Now, although life extension is being researched from numerous angles, genetic engineering has shown the most promising. Some methods involve replacing damaged cells with new ones, while others alter the mechanisms of DNA. Now, in 2017, Harvard scientists discovered how to reverse aging in lab mice by changing how their DNA repairs itself. However, it's unclear if scientists will be able to duplicate this feat in humans. While it can't delay aging itself, replacing worn organs could help people survive the more deteriorating effects of aging. Scientists have already grown kidneys and windpipes in laboratory settings using stem cells and researching how to create more complex organs like the heart and liver. There has also been significant progress in artificial organs thanks to new technologies and 3D printing. So what's the future of life extension? So currently, life extension is mostly research and educated guesses. Hypothesis. We learned that a long time ago in school. What is a hypothesis? It's an intelligent guess. That doesn't mean it's proof. Now, some experts believe we're not even close to breaking through the natural barriers of aging, while others believe some form of life extension will be widely available by the middle of the 21st century. Almost everyone wants to live longer, healthier lives. I want a healthier life. But science has a long way to go before we overcome the natural limits of the human life expand. Although life extension technology will continue to develop, major discoveries will take decades to realize, if they're even realized at all. Again, just think for yourself, read a lot. That's really important. Educate yourself, go through a learning process. Some of this stuff I think is garbage, but I still like to do research. I want to know what it's about. How CRISPR could change the world. Let's talk about that for just a minute. This is gene editing, and it's been around for decades, but it's known to be imprecise, expensive, and time-consuming. However, it's kind of on this little revolution thing going on, thanks to gene editing technique called CRISPR. We make it discover all sorts of new cures and scientific advances. So what is it, and how does it work? Okay, it's a natural product of DNA that acts as an antiviral defense mechanism, identifying and removing specific bits of genetic info. Now, in 2012, scientists learned that they could control what it removes and replaces by altering a specific protein called CAS9, which is an associated protein 9. This is all science stuff. Now, this gene editing technique is most often called CRISPR, sharing a name with this section of DNA, or CAS9. Now, compared to older methods of gene editing, CRISPR offers far more precision and accuracy. Essentially, it's like the find and place command in Microsoft Word, only it's for DNA. So what they're doing is they're searching, they're finding. You know how you can hit Control F for control find? That's what they're identifying this with. Now, what could improve this mechanism? So thanks to its pinpoint accuracy and relatively low production costs, this could potentially change everything involving genes, from curing diseases and improving agriculture to repairing genetic disorders like sickle cell anemia. Many scientists believe it could lead to breakthroughs in the fight against cancer, HIV, and heart disease. Some hope it may even lead to a cure for aging itself. Scientists around the world are conducting numerous CRISPR trials, trying to turn this incredible potential into reality. While these studies are ongoing, some of them have already shown results. For example, in 2017, it was used to treat a genetic heart defect in human embryos. Now, is it available to the public? Yeah, believe it or not, it is. So its low production cost not only allows scientists to conduct far more tests and studies, it also made gene editing more accessible to the public. In fact, you can order a CRISPR kit online if you'd like to conduct an experiment on your own. While these kits are limited by what you can edit, they allow you to explore the science genetic engineering from the comfort of your own home. Be careful about these things, because what are the downsides? Unfortunately, the truly groundbreaking benefits of CRISPR are still in the future, as scientists are still learning how to use it. I'm not going to order it until they know how to use it. Okay, for instance, scientists may have trouble deactivating CRISPR before it becomes unintended changes. Fortunately, they're making progress. Also, we don't fully understand how interconnected DNA truly is. Scientists could modify one gene that unexpectedly changes several others, creating all sorts of new problems. Does that not sound like Frankenstein on steroids? We also need to consider the ethical consequences of gene editing. Should we edit human embryos so they're not only free of genetic disease but grow stronger, taller, smarter than unedited embryos? Should we even edit genes at all? As CRISPR becomes more powerful, these are questions that we in a society should all try to figure out. I'm going to say a big fat no on that. Makes you wonder why people are are so crazy hit on people having abortions. I wanted to stick that in there as well. Thank you so much for watching The Edge on IC Radio. We are your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, as well as Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast, NetNewsNetwork.net. You take care and keep looking at that video. It's really interesting.